Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Unprecedented Podcast. Here, we challenge the status quo and explore the unfiltered truths from the shadows of societies. We're not afraid to tackle what's often left unsaid. Each episode, we bring you thought-provoking conversations, revealing stories and expert insights that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. Join us as we shine a light on the unseen. Join us as we shine a light on the unheard and the unimaginable, with special guests and unique perspectives. We dive deep into the topics that others shy away from. Here, we challenge the status quo. So, if you're ready to step into the conversation that everyone else is avoiding, hit subscribe and join us on this journey through the unprecedented.
Let's talk about it.
Good evening, folks. This is Pablo with Unprecedented Podcast, and I'm coming to you with a new episode. An episode that's going to be as interesting, as thought-provoking as all the others. We're so happy to be able to come to you with another sensitive topic, another thought-provoking, as I said, subject, and it's going to be on American jails, correction or corruption. And we'll let you be the judges, right? As Americans, as tax-paying citizens, is the jail system working not just for us as tax-paying citizens of America who are looking to be protected, and for our jails to not only protect us, but also prepare these men and women that are incarcerated to re-enter society as, positive and contributing members of that society. The impact and whether or not the justice system, which, the jail system is a part of, is working for us and working again for these men and women who are incarcerated for whatever reason, and while incarcerated are supposed to be getting prepared to come out as productive members of our society, right? So let me read a little bit from the research that I did, which is provided by the Justice Department itself. And it says here, in the U.S., a significant portion of released prisoners are rearrested, leading to high recidivism rates and a cycle of incarceration. And not just a cycle of incarceration, but reincarceration, which is the definition of recidivism. For any of those who are wondering what that word means, it's a difficult word to describe a simple thing, which is reincarceration. And factors like lack of resources and employment opportunities contribute to this issue. So right there, it's trying to give you one of the examples why recidivism occurs, reincarceration again, because instead of being prepared to come out to society, right, as productive members of society, these people are not being given any tools, any coping mechanisms, any productive, positive tools to bring out to that society. So in other words, they're just being warehoused. And it goes on to speak about high rearrest rates. Some studies showing that over half are rearrested within 3 years and over 3/4 within 5 years. So that is, incredible and something to be concerned about, right?
Is it correction or is it corruption? Because the legal system, particularly in New York and Massachusetts, is more like a business. They profit off of this stuff. They're not trying to fix nobody. They want us to keep coming back because they don't seem to be rehabilitating anybody. So it's more of a business. Now, when you think about all the individuals that are in jail for gun crimes, most of them don't even have a license to carry. Where are the guns coming from? Could it be that the higher ups are flooding the urban communities with guns in hopes of having us self-destruct and keep coming back and filling these jails so they can keep profiting off of us? It's just something to think about.
It seems to me that this research and this information is telling us that simply incarcerating people is not working. And we understand, if you've been around for a number of years, like I'm 54 years old, and I've been around hearing this topic, for as long as I can remember, right? About recidivism, about reincarceration, incarceration, like what works, what doesn't work. So yeah, we've been hearing this in our country for a long time, right? Depending on your age. And so it just solidifies what most of us know, right? That jail itself does not work. Just warehousing somebody in a place where they're getting 3 meals, they got a bed to sleep on, and that's about it, right? It's not working. And so I don't know why America is lagging so far behind with this issue, right? An issue that's been plaguing us for as long as jails have been around, for the most part. And that doesn't seem to be getting better, okay? So it says here, the U.S. has a high incarceration rate and recidivism rate compared to other countries. And me personally, I've read different studies and different research that says we are the highest, not one of the highest. We have the highest incarceration rate of any civilized, developed country in the world. You might ask yourself why? Well, I'm going to try to answer that to you in this episode today. But before I do that, let me give you some of the factors that contribute to recidivism. We spoke about the numbers that go back, but let's find out why. What are some of the reasons, right? And some of the factors are lack of resources. There you go. I already mentioned it once. Lack of resources, lack of employment opportunities, lack of housing and other basic necessities can make it difficult for former inmates to reintegrate into society. And you would say, like, okay, that's a no-brainer, right? We understand that if somebody goes away for X amount of years because they committed a crime and they pay their due to society and finish their time behind bars, in a jail, in an institution where they're, supposed to be reintegrated to society, right, as productive members of that society. Well, it says here that the reason America has a high rate of recidivism, reincarceration, is because these people are let go with none of those resources. They're not provided anything. They're not provided employment opportunities, because now if they have a felony, which is a serious crime that stays on your record permanently, although there are now steps you can take to erase it, to expunge it. But when these people initially get out into society, they lack these opportunities. They lack job opportunities, housing opportunities, basic necessities that a human being needs to survive and to thrive, right? Into becoming those productive members of society. So they don't have these basic necessities. fundamental necessities, if you ask me, because this is not like, things that we should provide or we think maybe we should provide. No, these are basic, fundamental human necessity that a human being needs to not just survive, not just to live, but to thrive in a society. These men and women lack, and the reason they lack it is because they're not given it. It's not provided to them. Okay, let's move on. There's the mental health and there's the substance abuse aspect of this, right? Because don't get it twisted. Don't fool yourself into thinking that everybody who's in jail is a mean, hardened, seasoned, evil person or individual, right? Yeah, those are issues that we've been dealing with separately on a whole different level aside from the jails, incarcerations, and why haven't those issues been addressed in our society, right? So those issues all combine to produce the perfect storm where these people now act out in whatever way, form, or fashion in our society and are incarcerated, are punished. And not only are they incarcerated and punished, because of course, if you commit a crime in this country, you should pay for it. But we tend to forget and not want to look at as a society at what caused this. What are the root causes, right? And not just that, but also why do these people continue to reoffend? Hence the recidivism, right? The reincarceration. And those are some of the things, some of the issues, some of the reasons that we like to sweep under the rug and not talk about, right? And I want to bring that back to the folks that are crying and fighting and picketing over the illegals that President Trump is trying to send back because they broke the law and came into this country illegally. And not only did they come into the country illegally, that wasn't enough for them. A lot of them come into the country and commit other heinous crimes, right? Yeah, so it's not enough that they came in here illegally. And we understand, man, I'm not ignorant of the fact that we all came from somewhere, right? We all came from somewhere. I happen to be a descendant of Puerto Ricans. My grandparents came here looking for a better life. Even though Puerto Rico is a territory, a commonwealth of the United States, I understand that. But still, things weren't looking too good. My grandparents migrated here. They landed in New York. The rest is history, right? But we work to make our lives better. We work to provide for our families. We look to be good stewards, right? Of where we live, like our new country, right? We got here and we decided, okay, we're going to be a productive member of this society. Just like when an inmate gets out of jail, you hope that they would come out, learn their lesson, and be a productive member of society, right? Well, the same thing we did when we came from where we came from. We landed here. We tried to be an asset to our country, our new country, our community, our society, and they did. Because my childhood in New York was the best. But moving on to the jails and institutions is that, these people that are coming back from doing their sentences and paying their debt to society are coming out to that society, and the society has nothing to offer them. And so you have people picketing, and by people I mean the Democratic Party, the woke movement, all those folks that are living in that fantasy world that we're supposed to take care and accept and protect and, just leave our borders open for everybody to come take, rape, and pillage. Well, they're not lifting their voices and picketing and screaming for these Americans that after having been sent to jail, paid their debts to society and got out, well, now we have nothing to offer them. And by the way, these are Americans. Whatever their crime was, they're Americans. And we look the other way when it comes to talking about them and fixing the problem that keeps them going in and out of jail, whether it's mental health, whether it's addiction, whether it is just falling on bad times. No, we look the other way. We want to protect the illegals that just got here illegally, and we're supposed to provide them with housing, insurance, food, clothing. We're supposed to do all that for people that are just crossing the border illegally. But, people that committed a crime who are actual Americans, we don't want to talk about that. And let me read to you. As of June 2023, there were 158 private prisons in the United States. These prisons house about 8% of the total state and federal prison population. Wow. Did you guys know that? That this country has 158 private prisons around the country that house 8% of the total state and federal prison population. And so that brings up the question, at least to me, whether it's that we don't care about these people that are coming out of jail, societies and communities in America, the ghetto, the blacks, the Hispanics, the minorities, were the biggest population in our institutions for decades. For decades, people's lives were destroyed. And just to give a little bit of personal information on myself, right? Because I like to be an open book. Unprecedented wants to be transparent in all our topics and all our issues and all our episodes. I am an ex-convict, yes. There was a time that, because of my drug use, because of my gang banging, I got into trouble with the law. And, I had the displeasure and misfortune of visiting some institutions both in New York and Massachusetts. And so I know for a fact that was the population that was populating our jails and institutions here in America, at least in those regions where I lived and was raised, New York and Massachusetts. Yeah, if you saw a white face, it was like a rare occasion. Now, not so much because of the opioid epidemic. I understand there's a lot of more Caucasians in jail, both female and male. And that has its different reasons, right? Why? But so you ask yourself the question, do these people really want folks to stop going to jail when there's money in it? And again, I go back to the analogy that somebody gave me a long time ago, and they said, there's no money in cures.
Thank you for tuning into our Unprecedented podcast. We appreciate the support. Hit that like and subscribe, share, and let's stay on top of things. Let's make it make sense. Because a lot of these things that's going on, they don't add up. They don't add up at all. So yeah, I think that the jail system is more corruption than correction. What do you think about that? Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Unprecedented Podcast. Here, we challenge the status quo and explore the unfiltered truths from the shadows of societies. We're not afraid to tackle what's often left unsaid. Each episode, we bring you thought-provoking conversations revealing stories and expert insights that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. Join us as we shine a light on the unseen. Join us as we shine a light on the unheard and the unimaginable, with special guests and unique perspectives. We dive deep into the topics that others shy away from. Here, we challenge the status quo. So, if you're ready to step into the conversation that everyone else is avoiding, hit subscribe and join us on this journey through the unprecedented.
Let's talk about it.